Staying in contact with your host, London Mitchell. In this weekly podcast, London chats with individuals who work to improve the quality of life in Northwest Ohio. And now your host, London Mitchell.
In your backyard, you find an injured bird. It seems so helpless. Your heart goes out to the bird, but what can you do? You could take the injured bird to Nature's Nursery. This not-for-profit in western Lucas County provides medical care to injured, orphaned, or ailing wild animals. This morning, my guest is the executive director of Nature's Nursery, Allison Aey. Now, this is not the first time I've interviewed a representative from Nature's Nursery. That first interview was quite a few years ago, and at that time, Nature's Nursery was keeping its location something of a secret.
We had a problem with, if we published our address, people were delivering animals to our front steps without any kind of prior conversation regarding the animal coming in. So that became problematic. A lot of times, if we can talk to somebody on the phone before the animal arrives, there's a lot of situations where people think the animal is in need of our help or in need of our care. And there's ways that we can talk to them and explain to them that that's not necessarily the case and the animal should be left where it is. So before the days of Google Maps and all of those things with GPS location, we did a pretty good job of making sure people called us for a location before they brought the animal out. That is completely blown out of the water now with the ability to track down locations. So we are no longer undercover, and we are actually moving from White House to Waterville and will now be open to the public. So the need to stay undercover and off the radar would be completely counterproductive now to being open to the public.
Your mission then, Allison, is the rehabilitation of wild animals.
You know, the important thing first is to clarify that it is wildlife. So we don't take domestics. We can't help cats. We can't help dogs. We can't help chickens. Those are all considered domestic animals. We help native wildlife, wild animals that are native to this area. And they come in because they're sick, because they're injured. And we are quickly approaching the season where they come in because they are babies that have been orphaned. In fact, the wind that we had recently, that's one of those scenarios where we start getting lots of calls because nests start flying out of trees, and those babies are found on the ground. Mom gets scared and gets spooked and takes off. So starting in late February right through pretty much October, we get tons of baby animals in.
Allison Aey, there are animals that Nature's Nursery cannot accept, correct?
The only animals that we cannot take, or the only wildlife that we cannot take, are deer, raccoon, and coyote. And each one of those are because of various issues with either the Division of Natural Resources or particular permits. Those animals can come, if someone finds one that's been hit by a car and it's still alive, and it's the best course of action would be to humanely euthanize that animal, we are able to do that, but we cannot rehabilitate those animals because of the rules with the permits. However, we take lots of bunnies, opossums, fox. We've had numerous bald eagles. Last year, I think we had 6 bald eagles come in. Lots of hawks, tons of owls. People don't realize quite how many owls there are in this area. Your typical squirrels, flying squirrels. People are very surprised to find out that flying squirrels, the cute little guys with like the extra patch of skin in their armpit that helps them to kind of soar through the air, those are the most abundant squirrel in our area. And I myself have never even seen one in nature. They hang out way up in the trees, but they're really cool to see up close. So all of these kind of animals come into us, and our goal is always to rehabilitate them, to go through a treatment plan, whether it's a minor surgery or medication, or in the case of the babies, be able to feed them to get them up to the size that they need to be released. And we do also have about 30 animals that we call education ambassadors. And those are different types of wildlife that have come in and could not be released for various reasons. For example, we have an opossum that had been caught by a cat, and it was one eye was damaged and it couldn't see well. It wouldn't have been successful in the wild. So we're able to keep a separate permit and use those animals to take out for education programs at schools, Cub Scouts, nursing homes, community events, parks. it's a lot of fun to be able to, you learn more when that animal's right there in front of you and you can see it and watch it interact and stuff.
You kind of surprised me that you would be rehabilitating eagles, a bald eagle. I
Bald
wouldn't think
eagles.
that anything would harm them.
Do you know they're definitely the top of the they're an apex predator. They're up there at the top of the food chain, but they still get injured. It's usually silly things. Sometimes they're trying to catch prey and they get hit by a car or a truck. It's generally not another animal that has injured them. It's some sort of self-inflicted injury, whether they've hit a building or um, the scenarios are often not something that we can even pinpoint. It's that they've been found somewhere injured, not flying. Some sort of wing injury or leg injury is usually what brings those guys in, but they are just absolutely amazing to see up close. And sometimes we get into a situation where the care that they need is more than we can handle at our center, and we will send them off across the state to a raptor specialist to take care of those the bigger hawks and eagles and owls they're more equipped to handle those situations and have bigger flight cages and things than what we can do.
It sounds like a really dedicated activity. How did you get involved?
I was that kid, Lyndon, that the animals always showed up on my doorstep when I was a kid. The injured squirrel or the bird that wasn't flying. And I became aware of Nature's Nursery many years ago, just in my own adventures with wildlife and animals that I fell in love with and wanted to help. And so it was always on my radar. I knew it was there. My aunt had volunteered there for many years. And when a position opened up, I live here in White House, so I'm not far from the center. The position opened up for the executive director position, and they were really looking for somebody with more of a business background than an animal background. Although I love animals, I'm not equipped to go in there and do surgical procedures and treatments and things, but I had the business background. I'd been at Levis Commons here locally for 15 years, so I'd worked with a lot of different businesses and networking and fundraising and events. So it seemed like the natural fit. And at that point, when I started about 3 years ago, we were in a position where we needed to expand. The building that we've been operating out of is very small. It's an old farmhouse. We've literally had animals in closets, and any animal that needs water is hanging out in a human bathtub, and it's way too small for what we need. So the goal was, when I came on board, to help us expand, and that is what we were doing. We actually just received occupancy on our new building in Waterville. We've been working on the renovations and rehabilitation of that building for about the last year. And we hope to be fully open in there by summertime, but we will start taking animals in there for rehab pretty soon. So just a lot of things aligned at the right time. And it is just the coolest job. There's something new every day. And I learn new things about animals and wildlife and the environment every single day. It's really mind blowing what all our staff is able to do with all these different species that they have to understand and learn about.
So I assume that you're working with a lot of volunteers.
We have a roster of about 100 volunteers, and we will be growing that as we move into the new building, because we're going from 1,400 square foot to 5,700 square foot plus 5 acres of outdoor land. So we have volunteers that do everything from coming in 4 hours a week to help clean cages and prep the food that the animals eat, to what we call transporters. They're trained to carefully and cautiously restrain animals and contain them into cages when people call and they find them. In a case like a bunny, it may be easy for a person to get that into a box and bring it to us, but you get something like a call from a hawk or an eagle, we want someone who's got the right equipment and trained. So we have transporters that go out and contain those animals and bring them back to us. And then we have education volunteers that help with our education programming and teaching kids about the animals that we have. And we have fundraising volunteers. There's so many opportunities. We're always looking for more people who are interested and want to get engaged in what we're doing.
And the best way to do that is?
Our website. We've got a tab on our website that talks about volunteer opportunities there. And I think as we get into this new building, we're going to continue to adapt that, because we can't even completely wrap our minds around yet what all we're going to need once we get in there. I think the job descriptions will change and be added as we move forward.
Now, you've got a fundraiser coming up.
We do. We do. We're always doing some fun fundraisers. But we've got a night coming up called Country Night for the Critters. I was a big country fan in the old Nashville's days. I recall, I think you were involved in those Nashville's events and such too, if I remember correctly.
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah, Nashville's was like I hate to use the word cult, but it definitely had a particular following of people who you got into it and went there regularly for the dancing and the fun. So I've remained in touch with a lot of the old Nashville's people, if you will, and DJ Corey, who used to DJ over there. And we've created Country Night for the Critters. It's just gonna be a fun night, it's open to everyone, but certainly if you were a Nashville's person, you wanna come out and kind of reunite with some of these people. But we're gonna do some line dancing and two-stepping and dance to the old music, dance to the new music, and all of the admission price, the cost to get in, will go directly to Nature's Nursery to help us provide care to the animals that we've been talking about.
Now, when is this and how do people get tickets?
Sure. It's Friday, March 10th, and it's going to be at Prime, which is the bar in Toledo. I believe that's the old Club Soda. It's on Secor Road there in Toledo. They've completely redone it, and it's got a great dance floor. I'm really excited to get out there and do some line dancing. But it is Friday, March 10th at 7 p.m. And you can get tickets for $7 through our website, which is natures-nursery.org, or you can get them at the door for $10. I would love to see you there. And we're actually right now selling some Nashville's shirts too, if you're really feeling nostalgic and want to grab one of those from the website or our Facebook page.
Allison Aey from Nature's Nursery. Don't forget their big fundraiser coming up March 10th, Country Night for the Critters. Complete details on the website, natures-nursery.org. I'm London Mitchell, inviting you to join us again next week, staying in contact. In the meantime, you can email me, london@londonmitchell.news, or find me on Twitter or Mastodon.